let's build some Christmas decorations. Hello there, and as you can see right in front of me, I have 3 Lego compatible build-in sets, and they're only about 50 pieces each. We've got 40 pieces in this here Christmas train, 59 in Santa Claus, and 45 in the gingerbread house. These are from BlockTech, and I haven't been gifted these. This is not a sponsored video in any way, shape, or form. I was walking in my local Morrison's, saw about 12 of these on the shelf. They had 3 Christmas, they had a few racing cars, flowers, and a few other animals as well. So if you want to see the rest of these BlockTech sets, definitely drop a like on the video and let me know in the comments. But I bought this with my hard-earned cash and thought it'd be great to review all 3 Christmas sets in the one video. Now, these haven't been open, they are still sealed. And like I said, the brand is BlockTech. I have not heard of BlockTech before. This is the first I am seeing of them. So it'll be interesting to see how the bricks actually fare up against the Lego models. That being said, you can definitely take the instructions from this video. And if you wanted to put them together with Lego bricks, they all seem to use quite common elements. I'm really interested to see on the front of the train here, there's a Merry Christmas. I'm not sure if it's a print or a sticker, but it seems to go over both of the bricks at the front. And I'm really intrigued if that is a sticker, if it's a square one and there's just some translucence that isn't coming across in the render on the front of the box. So perhaps we'll be opening that one first. But like I said, each of these sets is currently in Morrison's. If you're in the UK, I'm sure you could probably purchase these online. They cost £2 a piece, which might seem a little expensive, but then you realize that the Lego poly bags go for £3.50, and that's just the starting price. Right now, you can get 3 of these for £5, which I think is a really good offer. You're only looking at about 150 or so pieces. But with the current state of Lego and prices on the rise, this could be a really cool stocking filler for any brick building fans this year. So I'm going to move Santa and the gingerbread house just over to the side. We're going to start with the Christmas train. I really want to know about the sticker on the front of it. And the reason that I haven't opened these yet to have a look inside is because I really don't know anything about them, about the instructions, about how the pieces are packaged, and I hope to get into that in a second here on this video. So it looks like they are bagged in just one bag. We do have bag numbers, which leads me to think, as well as a code for each of these bags, that BlockTech probably make bigger sets and do have numbered bags in said bigger sets. But the instructions look straightforward enough. If you've ever got a Lego compatible, and we'll get on to the sticker in just a second, but if you've ever got a Lego compatible advent calendar or anything like that, it's just a one sheet of paper folded in half. There are a total of 11 steps, I do believe, although no, there are 12. There's one on the back as well, and it seems to be put together much like your average Lego train. So I think we'll get into building, and I'll get onto the sticker when it's needed in the instructions. I am going to miss the plastic bags, but I can't wait to open a Lego set with paper bags. My fiance has got them in the Animal Crossing sets, but I am still yet to pick up a paper bag Lego set. I do believe it's because they've mostly been in Lego store Lego sets this year, but hopefully in the new year I can grab a few to open myself. So for being the first BlockTech set that I've actually built, I have to say the clutch power on these bricks is really, really good. The build was straightforward. All of these models took me less than 5 minutes to build, which is really, really nice. Because of the size of them, they're perfect for stocking fillers. So it looks like I only get 1 spare piece, which is a little red stud, and I think that is just down to the fact that 4 come in the set, and it's better to have 1 spare than need 1 and not have 1 in your collection, because I think a lot of people that are picking these up are the people that have looked at Lego sets and found them quite interesting, but not wanted to splash out 20, 30, 40 pound on an actual Lego set. Even like £5 for a poly bag, I think is pretty steep. Now, I haven't put on the sticker yet because it does look like the sticker is on a giant square, and this is from step 3, so it gets you to put the sticker on very, very quickly, but it does seem that the sticker is a precise cut out of the actual Merry Christmas logo. Hopefully you can see what I mean by looking at it. There's a slight outline around the actual Merry Christmas banner, and that is what goes on the front of the train. And I really hope the focus for the video isn't messed up just for that close-up. But it's actually quite hard to peel this off. Let me get my trusty brick separator, which is the best tool for applying stickers, just to make sure we can center this on the train, because it looks like we will only be getting one shot. And this is a stamp technique, which for all you new AFOLs is stickers across multiple pieces. So we've got to make sure these pieces are aligned and try and get this Merry Christmas logo as centered as possible. I think I need to move that over a little bit. Perhaps we can use the extra bit of the sticker here to get it centered. I'm pretty happy with that. So as you can see, it's not as easy as a Lego sticker. As much as people do complain about the translucent corners to it, that square shape makes it so easy to line it up. Once you've done a few Lego stickers, you know exactly how much space should be between the edges. Whereas an abnormal shape just like this, or an irregular shape just like this, is really, really hard to stick in the center. So the instructions were very easy to follow. In fact, easier than I expected for an alternate set. Usually they have you putting on quite a few pieces in each set. This breaks it down quite nicely, and I'll flash them on screen if you did want to build this with pieces in your Lego collection. The only difficult part I had was putting on the funnel and the little gold decorations on top of the train, because they have you put the studs into what I would assume are Technic holes. Again, I don't really see many compatible brands using these Technic pieces, so it was nice to see a few elements with this set. And where Lego would probably opt for one of the Technic pins with a stud on top and get you to put them in system with the Technic pieces, this gets you to put the studs straight into the Technic holes, and for a Lego connection it's hard enough. But these bricks, I have to assume, have slightly less accurate tolerances, and as you probably saw in the speed build, it went flying. I did snap it in half. No pieces were broken, but I did have to revisit a step. But this is a really, really nice model. And especially, like I said, for that £2, we're looking at the typical Christmas train poly bag that Lego put out as a gift with purchase. And it comes back, I think it's been coming back for the last 2 or 3 years. So I'm really happy with this. Again, as far as Christmas goes, I think the only thing making this a Christmas train is the little Merry Christmas banner on the front, and they probably could have even stuck a banner on the sides or something like that. Trains are associated with Christmas a little bit, but I'm not sure if it was enough to call it a Christmas train. I feel like they could have called it a train, widened the audience for it, but then again, I wouldn't be reviewing it in this video. So that is one set down, and now onto the gingerbread house. This is the one that drew my attention over to it. It looks like we'll be using a bit of a snot technique here, and there are some CMF minifigure displays. Anytime that 3x4 element is used in a mock of any sort, I find it really, really interesting, because even Lego have used it a few times in sets like the Razor Crest in exclusive colors as well. So let's crack this open, and I'm going to assume that all of these follow very similar instructions and the same basis, but it does look like we have a different colored bag, as this one has some white to it. Very, very Christmassy colors, of course. And taking a look at the instructions, it seems we have the same single sheet of paper folded in half. This time 10 instructions. I think the last one had 12. It did. So it'd be very interesting to see how much Santa Claus is broken into, because these have both been quite low builds, and I'm hoping Santa's about double the height of the Christmas train. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's crinkle the plastic bag. I am going to miss that and get building the gingerbread house. This set definitely had the best piece variety of them all. It seems we have come across a brand new element very early on in this build, and there's a few other things that I'd like to talk about, so we'll finish it in just a second. But we've got this 1x2 element with the studs. It's not quite a bracket, but I've seen this in a few other Lego compatible builds, and it's a very, very interesting piece, purely just because there's not much support on these studs. Now we're only connecting some 1x1 tile elements to it, so there doesn't really need to be that much support. But it is interesting they've opted to use this rather than a bracket. Perhaps a bracket wouldn't work. That brings me to another point about the masonry bricks used in this set. They use some 1x4s and some 1x2s, but still no one has used a corner element. Now, the corners will be slightly covered at the top by the roof. Perhaps they deemed it not worthy to try and recreate a brand new element and just opted to use the 1x4s and 1x2s that Lego have already made. Because if you weren't aware, as soon as a Lego brick has been 20 years patented, it is then open for anyone else to use in their builds. So the reason I bring this up is because I wonder if Lego have patented corner bricks, and that's something they've done recently. They just haven't brought it out in a set. I'm sure I'm putting way too much thought into this, but I really do hope we can see some corner bricks soon. And if not, stick around, because in the new year I will be 3D printing them myself and adding them to the Lego City. Even though this set did have 5 more pieces, it's definitely the smallest out of all 3, and you can tell that when you are building it, because there's a lot of studs and 1x1 tiles, and especially some really nice translucent elements. This one might need a few part swaps for you to make it easily with all the pieces you have. So having finished this, I think the gingerbread house is absolutely adorable. The only issue with this that I didn't find with the train, so far the sticker was a bit hard to put on, but again, if you are building this, the box says it's 6+. You can always get a parent or an adult's help in putting that on. Now with the gingerbread house, because there are a few white elements, when you're looking through the instructions, the previous step and all the previous parts, rather than being grayed out like when you're building something on Studio Bricklink's building platform, they go white, which doesn't help when you're trying to put on some white parts, because I did have to go back and mainly the snot brick right at the front holding on the door, I completely missed in the instructions because it was whited out. 2 spare pieces with this. I'm not sure if there's meant to be 2 or there's meant to be 3, because we get a spare of this 1x1 blue tile, which we do use 5 of in the set. So again, more than 4 pieces likely needs a spare piece. Again, a 1x1 stud in white as well. But we also use 4 of these candy love hearts on the build. So perhaps there was meant to be a spare one of those, and I'm happy that they do put in spares, because I potentially could have ended up with only 3, which wouldn't be enough to complete the build. But then again, I've got spare pieces that I can put in the place, and you can mix and match the roof. I really like the fact they've used the CMF display plates and covered them with a bunch of different, seemingly random, but still really, really nice patterned bricks on all the tiles that they've used to nice and smooth it off, with the CMF sides acting as, again, a nice smooth off roof. There is a little space inside for you to fit perhaps a little sweet, or something like a few coins could definitely be squeezed in there. But when you put it back, it's a bit difficult. You have to push down rather than across, which I'm just finding out. And again, we're looking at fairly common Lego pieces. The least common, I would say, is at the top here, this triangle element. This double-sided slope does exist in Lego, but I haven't seen it used for years. So it's nice to see something like that put to use, rather than just trying to use something like cheese slopes, which Lego would probably do if this were a polybag. This is definitely my favorite out of the 2 so far, and I've got big expectations for Sandy Claus over here. But even the addition of something like the chimney just to the side, which again uses, I think these are the finger elements that we see in some of the mechs. And we've even got a little handle on the door, some nice candy cane accessories either side. This is a really solid Christmas decoration. And I do think these are more decorations than toys. There's not any play features so far. You don't have wheels on the train like Lego would give a small toy. These are something to be built and just displayed on your desk, perhaps on the background with a few of your other Lego models, and these would definitely fit in because of all of the tiling and the lack of studs showing. The only plates you would need to replace are one side of the train, and as far as anyone can tell, this could be a Lego model. All right, last but definitely not least, we do have Santa Claus, and it seems that Santa Claus might even have a present for us. So we'll get to that in just a second, but once again, I'm assuming to open it up and it be very similar, if not the same, to the other 2. And it does seem we have another bag. However, This one has been numbered with 2. Let me just double check the others. So it seems we've opened these in the wrong order because they all have the same code on the top because they are from the same line of sets. Christmas Train is number 1. The Gingerbread House is number 3, and Santa Claus is number 2, which is really interesting. I don't know if that's a coincidence. Like I say, they have the same code at the top of the bag above the numbers. So I wonder if there is a 4th set in this line that perhaps I might be missing. But it's nice to know that I've got 1, 2, and 3, not in the order that I built them. But Santa Claus is the biggest model yet, using 13 steps in, again, the same size sheet of paper folded over, and I'll put them on screen now for you to build with your Lego pieces. And I'm seeing the return of a few elements from the last build, but once again, let's get this open. Though this set isn't just the biggest in terms of parts, but also has the biggest parts out of all 3, I still was able to build it within the 5 minutes that I built all 3 of them. So if you are getting multiples of these, you could build probably about 6 an hour, which is, again, really, really nice. But from the neck down, Santa is a very basic build. All bricks are built in system, which is for the most part upright with the 2 arms attached, and the belly does come out a plate and a tile. But the head is probably the hardest thing I've had to build in this entire video. But we'll get on to that in just a second. And that is Santa Claus built, and he is about twice the height of the train. It's a very large model, a lot larger pieces, which explains why he comes at the lower end of the piece count, 59. Actually, he's got the most pieces out of all 3 sets. So if you just wanted to pick up one of these for the £2, I'd recommend Santa Claus. Though the Gingerbread House is a very close second and is quite a smaller build. Santa Claus sees the introduction of a few new pieces. We've got the typical Lego compatible double stud-sided brick, which I think is a testament to how good Lego are and how good the designers are at putting together sets that Lego still to date haven't needed any stud reversal pieces. But you do get one in here to put together the head, which is put together fairly similar to how the bottom of my YouTube play button is held on. The bottom of it is built upside down, and then it's held on by snot bricks at the side, which is very useful again for trying to work around the snot reversal pieces. And I feel like they didn't need the snot reversal pieces here if they just used some brackets to keep on the hat, but they were probably trying to keep the piece count down and had already probably gone too far with all these slopes to build out Santa's bowl full of jelly, as well as the beard, which I think is built really, really nicely. At one point when you just had the sides, it looked like me in my original room tour video. The eyes really complete the look. We've got an adorable looking Santa Claus here. And the interesting thing to note about the hat is they've used one of the studs with the hole in the middle rather than the regular stud we've seen on the last 2 models. So there's definitely going to be some bigger sets from Blocktech. I'd be interested to see if there's any Christmas themed ones, and I'll have to check them out. But Santa does look really cool. The only issues I had, well, the only issue singular I had with this build was putting the studs in the inverted slopes at the bottom. That was a really, really tricky connection. And it's similar for the beard, trying to get it into those half brackets. But I got there in the end. It wasn't too fiddly. A 6-year-old could definitely put together these 3 models. So I'm very happy I picked these up. And the present Santa has for us is an apple. I've been eating way too much chocolate, and it's not even Christmas yet. So I definitely need to add some fruit into the mix. So that has been all for today's review. I hope you enjoyed. If you are in the UK and you live near a Morrison's, definitely check them out because there are some other builds like the flowers that are pretty cool and affordable, which is really the best part about these sets. They're so cheap, and with Lego getting more and more expensive, sometimes picking up a few little builds, I mean, this would have cost me at least double this if this was official Lego, and that's assuming they'd release these as poly bags. These are definitely sized a bit more like make and takes. But thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Drop a like if you did enjoy, and subscribe if you want to see more set reviews in the new year, as I cannot wait to pick up a bunch of sets January 1st. Check out all the other videos on screen now, and may the bricks be with you always.